కాదు సార్, స్టూడెంట్స్ అన్నా వెళ్ళిపోయింది సార్. నేను లైబ్రరీ వాళ్ళకి చెప్పాను, దేవప్రియ సార్ స్టూడెంట్స్ అన్నా
అంత వచ్చి నాయకులు బీజేపీ లీడర్స్ అంటున్నారు.
Getting charging on that, you just take the okay.
Our guest has arrived. Please silent your mobile phone. Please silent your mobile phone. May I request all to rise for National Anthem, please?
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Good morning all to this important day, and let's begin today's program with a warm and hearty welcome to the Honorable Chief Guest, His Excellency Governor of Haryana, Shri Bandaru Dattatreya. A warm welcome to you, sir. I also welcome all the distinguished dignitaries on the stage, respected Dr. G. Narendra Kumar, Director, General National Institute of Rural Development and Panchayati Raj Ministry of Rural Development, Government of India, Hyderabad. A very warm welcome to you, sir. Now I welcome Professor Santosh Kumar from National Institute of Disaster Management, Ministry of Home Affairs, Government of India, New Delhi. and Professor S.No from Asian Biological Research Foundation, and Shri Shashi Bhujan, DDG NIRD RP. Welcome you all, sir. Now I also welcome all the professional colleagues and friends in this August gathering who are participating in today's program, Inspiring the Minds for Disaster Risk Reduction, which has been specially designed for the faculty member of Southern region of India, organized by an initiative of Honorable Prime Minister, 10 Points Agenda 6, India Universities and Institution Network on Disaster Risk Reduction, established by National Institute of Disaster Management, Ministry of Home Affairs, Government of India, in collaboration with National Institute of Rural Development and Panchayati Raj Ministry of Rural Development, Government of India, Hyderabad. Before we proceed further, may I request Shri DG Narendra Kumar, Director General, NIRD, to felicitate Honorable Chief Guest, His Excellency, the Governor of Haryana, with the flower bouquet and a memento. In collaboration with National Institute of Rural Development and Panchayati Raj Ministry of Rural Development, Government of India, Hyderabad. Before we proceed further, may I request DG Narendra Kumar, Director General, NIRD, to felicitate Honorable Chief Guest, His Excellency, the Governor of Haryana, with the flower bouquet and a memento. Now I welcome Shri Shashi Bhushan ji, DDG NIRD, to present memento to Professor Santosh Kumar, National Institute of Disaster Management. Now I welcome Shri Shashi Bhushan ji, DDG NIRD, to present memento to Professor Santosh Kumar, National Institute of Disaster Management. Now I welcome Dr. Kiran Jalem to give memento to our DG General. Narendra. Please give. Now I request Professor Ravindra Gawali, Head CNRM from NIRD, to present memento to Professor S.No, please. Now I welcome Dr. Kiran Jalem to give memento to our DG General. I request Professor Ravindra Gawali, Head CNRM from NIRD, to present memento to Professor S.No, please.
I request Preeti Soni to welcome DDG Shashi Bhushan sir with a flower bouquet.
Thank you all the dignitaries and chief guests. Now I request our Honorable Chief Guest, His Excellency Governor of Haryana, Shri Bandaru Dattatreya sir, to light the lamp and inaugurate this important event. I also would like to invite all the dignitaries on the dais to please come forward and join hands with the chief guest in the lighting. Thank you all the dignitaries and chief guests. Now I request our Honorable Chief Guest, His Excellency Governor of Haryana, Shri Bandaru Dattatreya sir, to light the Thank you all the dignitaries and honorable chief guests.
Thank you, Preeti. We would now like to welcome Professor Santosh Kumar, who is Head of Governance, Policy and Planning Division of National Institute of Disaster Management, Government of India. Professor Santosh Kumar is an expert of policy planning, capacity development and disaster risk reduction professional with 25 years of experience in different positions in the development planning and DRR sector. He has also worked at state levels in different capacities in UP, Academy of Administration, Nainital, and Rajasthan Institute of Public Administration, Ripat, Jaipur. He is an experienced hand in designing, planning and implementing mitigation and long-term disaster recovery plans and projects. I now request Professor Santosh Kumar to brief the objectives of the program. Over to you, sir.
Good morning, Excellency Shri Bandaru Dattatreya ji, Dr. G. Narendra Kumar, Professor S.N. Labh, Shri Shashi Bhushan ji, and all the distinguished delegates who have come from the different states, universities and institutions today. I am indeed grateful to National Institute of Rural Development who have joined hands with the National Institute of Disaster Management Ministry of Home Affairs Government of India at this particular occasion to actually roll out this disaster risk management program in the universities of the country. And you all be knowing and must be happy to note that National Institute of Disaster Management with a few experts went through the different consultation process, developed curriculum for different level for the universities, which was submitted to the University Grant Commission, Government of India, and of late, Government of India, UGC, has issued a circular to all the universities of the country, be it central universities or state university or the private universities. They all have to roll down disaster risk management program in the country. Although it is an advisory, but it is important. This particular program has been conceived actually to understand that what is happening all around. And we say that disaster is looming large across the globe. And in India also the risk has multiplied many-fold over the years. Two reports of 2022, Global Assessment Report, and also that Climate Change Report, which has come up and released in 2022, has actually given warning that disasters are not going to leave us, and which you are experiencing the kind of heat waves which is happening all over the country, pan-India kind of an impact. Importantly, that how we are going to actually, the new generation which is coming up to cope with this kind of a disaster and the situation which is very dynamic, not static. Risk of today is not the risk of tomorrow, but it has multiplied many-fold, so multiplying on a very, very progressive note. So in that context, this particular program which we have conceived, that how our future generation, which is coming through the different educational system, they can be the part of the process of risk reduction. And no better way we can do it rather than implementing it in the education system. So that was the one very important thing which we wanted to highlight. And we say that 1.5 to 2 degrees Celsius increase in the whole of the initiative in terms of the temperature rise. We had several kind of a consultation pan-India that what does it mean for India? 1.5 and 2 degree, the temperature rise. And given warning is coming as the intensified kind of a drought, intensified kind of a cyclonic storms, and intensified urban flooding and also that flooding in the rural areas. So how to cope, and that was the kind of which has been integrated in the circular, the kind of a curriculum which we have developed. Another thing which is very important, that side by side India is also grappling with poverty, inequality, which is we say that the driving force or the drivers of risk. So that is also going side by side. And every disaster, the poorest of the poor face the biggest brunt, and amongst them children and the women. So this particular curriculum has also highlighted those issues that which are really vulnerable and addressing that risk of those vulnerable people. We are also talking about the children's in emergencies and also the aged old persons who are going to be the part as a senior citizen in the country. So how they actually would going to be as a kind of a process of emergency management. So this particular program, which will run through in 5 days, we will be discussing different issues with the teachers, professors, and all the professionals who are all coming from different parts of the country. They will understand the kind of a criticalities of this particular subject and how they wish to take it forward. So this particular program, which has been designed for 5 days, will deeply focus on the curriculum. If any universities have to roll down, how universities actually taking proactive step to roll down such kind of challenges. And university, which is, we say that multi-sectoral kind of a disaster management is a multi-sectoral, and universities and institutions are the multi-sectoral. So our NIDM, which has taken this lead in terms of under the Prime Minister Agenda 6, that Association of Indian Universities and Institutions. So how that these knowledge hub, research-based institutions can be brought in the mainstream of disaster risk management. And with those initiatives, IUINDRR, which was established at NIDM, so me and my colleague, Dr. Preeti is here to facilitate the whole process with NIRD. So I'm grateful indeed for that, how this process will be rolling down for 5 days. And every day we have a technical sessions as well as also that narratives on that how those who are going to teach this subject, how they will be carrying forward. How NIDM, NIDR or institutions like national or state level institutions can actually participate in providing inputs to the curriculum so that those who are going to teach, that how that student can take it forward. Many universities are thinking of national and international collaboration for this particular subject. So that would also facilitate that if India and the larger number of universities in the country, if they are rolling down, that it would be a kind of example, exemplary for many of the countries in the world. So that would be a kind of a which has been seen almost on a daily basis, that how India is taking forward disaster risk management as a kind of a new era of a new subject led by India in the process. As we are the most vulnerable countries in the world, similarly we would be most kind of a prepared countries also in the world. So that was we are striving for this particular inspiring the minds for disaster risk reduction. So inspiring the minds would come very suitable for the universities. Young minds are coming, young minds are getting constructed, reconstructed, deconstructed. So how young minds actually taking that challenge. So I'm grateful indeed once again on behalf of the National Institute of Disaster Management, Ministry of Home Affairs, Government of India. I extend my hearty welcome to His Excellency, to National Institute of Rural Development, and our colleague and friends who have joined as a Professor Emeritus, Professor S.No, who has agreed to facilitate the process. I welcome you all here in this process, and I'm grateful indeed for actually, and extend my heartfelt thanks for providing all the support and facilities. And I would request His Excellency to kindly, whenever he is addressing, and kindly bless this kind of initiatives, not only in India and this state or in southern states, but also request in the state of Haryana as well. Thank you very much, Excellency, and all the distinguished delegates. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for such a lucid presentation from you and briefing the objectives of the program. Now, I would like to invite Professor S.No, who is a renowned figure in the field of disaster research. Professor Lab has been awarded with Gold Medal and Best Scientist Award by ICAR CIFRI. He also received Lifetime Achievement Award by Blue Planet Society. He is a patron of Asian Biological Research Foundation, India, and a fellow of the Linnean Society of London. I request you, sir, to kindly brief about the need and importance of this special program.
Excellency Governor of the States of Haryana, Mr. Bandaru Dattatreya, Dr. G. Narendra Kumar, Director General, National Institute of Rural Development and Panchayati Raj, Professor Santosh Kumar, Honorary Member of India Water Partnership and Head of G&IDRR Division NIDM, Shri Shashi Bhushan, ICAS, DDG NIRDPR, Dr. Preeti Soni, SPC, IUINDRR, NIDM, Dr. Kiran Jalem, Assistant Professor, CNRMCC&DM, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and namaste to you all. At first, I would like to commend and thank the organizers, and it's an honor for me to be a part of this 5-day regional capacity building training program for the academicians of southern region of India on inspiring the minds for disaster risk reduction. Dear friends, disaster education aims to provide knowledge among individuals and groups to take actions to reduce their vulnerability to disasters. Disaster is a catastrophe, mishap, calamity, or grave occurrence in any area arising from natural or human-induced causes by accident or by negligence. According to the Global Climate Risk Index report 2020, India is the 5th most vulnerable country in terms of climate change, and in recent years, earthquakes, cyclones, floods, landslides, and forest fires have become frequent across the country. Disasters and emergencies have been increasing all over the world. Today, with technological advancement, acquiring knowledge and its application in terms of action is regarded as the only effective way for preventing disasters or reducing its effects. Given the severe impact of climate emergency on economic and social development of vulnerable communities, especially the poor, it is important to create a platform and spread the knowledge in the society about disasters. Schools and colleges serve a significant purpose in the life of any individual. So children spend a considerable amount of time in schools and colleges, which generally serves as their second home. Structured education provided by schools and colleges play a very crucial role in the mental and psychological development of a child. Disaster management education is important because it's aimed to ensure an effective and coordinated response to disasters. Through the work to save lives and reduce the impacts of crisis on affected communities, disaster management is fundamental to timely and effectual assistance to disaster hit the people. Special attention should be paid for disaster education to the vulnerable people. A special training program should be adopted for the vulnerable people. It is worth noting that effective training can prevent or reduce the effects of some disasters. Trained people can protect themselves as well as others better. Thus, it is necessary to plan and design comprehensive educational program for school and college level students as well as those facing disasters. The best way to raise people's awareness about natural disasters and thus to be ready to manage potential catastrophe before they occur is by imparting public education on natural disasters and their management. So there is a dire need for introducing courses that better equip students for risk reduction and management of unpredictable natural calamities in the year to come. Specialized courses, more specific and technical knowledge and skills should be offered in higher studies. Similarly, a cooperative educational exchange program should be established among the universities of catastrophically vulnerable countries so that students can exchange experiences and see and learn the practices and system of disaster management in other countries as well. Finally, I would like to conclude that disaster management education is essential for every individual and it is a collective and coordinated effort. Everyone must take an active part in disaster management to reduce the risk of human life and other living organisms on earth which are essential for existence on this planet. I am fully confident that everyone sitting here would agree with this and will also help for spreading awareness among other citizens. It is necessary to solve this biggest problem related to nature and human life. Thank you and best wishes for this 5 days workshop program. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for highlighting the need of such a special initiative in this all-important field of disaster risk reduction of good governance. We now take the privilege to introduce our respected Director General of NIDPR, Dr. G. Narendra Kumar. Under his able guidance and dynamic leadership, we could able to chalk out this first of its kind program at NIDPR Hyderabad on inspiring the minds for disaster risk reduction, aiming to build the capacities of academicians of southern region of India, covering the states Kerala, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. Dr. G. Narendra Kumar belongs to 1988-89 batch IAS of Union Territory cadre. Sir took charge as Director General of NIDPR Hyderabad on 27th January 2021 for a period of 5 years. He earlier served as Additional Chief Secretary, Government of Delhi. He is now in the rank of Secretary to Government of India. He was instrumental in setting up of 4 universities in Delhi and in increasing access to quality technical and higher education in Delhi. Dr. G. Narendra Kumar is also known for developing Puducherry as the hardware capital of India. While working as Joint Secretary in the Cabinet Secretariat, he helped in setting up of Government of India wide performance monitoring and evaluation system in the form of results framework documents, RFDs. With this very small and brief introduction, I now call upon Dr. G. Narendra Kumar, Director General of NIDPR, to give the inaugural address. Over to you, sir.
His Excellency the Governor of Haryana, Shri Bandaru Dattatreya garu, Deputy Director General of NIRD, Shri Shashi Bhushan, Professor Santosh Kumar, Professor Lab, faculty members of NIRD who are gracing this occasion today, school head of the Center for Natural Resource Management and Disaster Reduction, Professor Gavli, whose center is spearheading this initiative, esteemed participants to this very important capacity building training program, inspiring the minds for disaster risk reduction. A very warm welcome to you all at the outset to the National Institute of Rural Development and Panchayati Raj. To recount the importance of disaster risk reduction, a vivid memory always comes to my mind, that of the Divisima cyclone, which killed tens of thousands of people, uprooted several families, caused untold disaster to people. It not only shows the kind of damage that disasters can cause to families, and communities, but the frailty of human life. What we consider to be our riches, what we consider to be our prized possessions, can go away in a very short span of time. We therefore have to prepare well for such events, and we've been progressing in the sense that we've never had such an impact of a disaster of that scale subsequently. Not to say that we did not have such large-scale disasters, such large-scale devastations did strike. One such vivid memory is a cyclone which struck the Tamil Nadu coast, the Puducherry coast and so on. But those devastations were not as much as the Divisima cyclone caused. That was because we prepared ourselves, and we prepared ourselves well to face the disaster by constructing cyclone shelters, by putting in place early warning systems, evacuating people where necessary. So in this manner, various steps were taken for disaster risk reduction. And that's been a big change, saved several lives, several families and communities. That's the importance of disaster risk reduction, which we should be aware and therefore propagate it to every young person of this country, so they are aware of how to mitigate disaster risks, how to cope with them. But unfortunately, during the past 2 years, we've all been embroiled and taken up by the COVID virus, which is again another type of disaster, for which also we need to prepare. We need to prepare to face it. We need to reduce the risk from events like this, incidents like this. In about 2009-10, I was Secretary of the Department of Technical and Higher Education, as was being mentioned earlier. And at that time, we had workshops and seminars with the National Disaster Management Institute and more so with the National Disaster Management Authority on how we can integrate the disaster management syllabus in the curriculum of undergraduates mainly. I'm now glad that we're now able to realize this through events like this on how we can actually integrate the disaster management into the curriculum and syllabus of the undergraduate courses. It's particularly heartening to note that the foundational course of various undergraduate programs of several universities now has disaster management in it. And we hope that the other universities will also follow suit and incorporate the disaster management reduction, disaster risk reduction, disaster management aspects in the foundational course of the undergraduate courses. It's very important because every citizen of this country ought to know what kind of disasters strike him, his family, and his community. And they should be well prepared to face those disasters, including the unforeseen disaster of COVID. But the COVID disaster had its positive fallouts in the sense that it has now heightened awareness among every citizen of this country as to the damage that a disaster can cause. It can be a man-made disaster, it can be a natural disaster. Riding on the strength of this sensitivity, we need to move forward and see that every citizen of this country is prepared to face disasters squarely and competently. That's the competence that we need to build in the youth whom we train. And that's what makes men and women complete to be able to face disasters and to be active and responsible citizens of this country. That's the important task that you all are faced with. NIRDPR is also sensitive to this and has been working actively with institutions like the National Institute of Disaster Management, National Disaster Management Authority, to localize disaster responses, which is a clarion call given by the Honorable Prime Minister in his 10-point agenda for dealing with disasters and for disaster risk reduction. One of the important agenda items is on localizing responses to disasters, localizing disaster management, and we are moving forward in that direction by trying to build capabilities at the village level to deal with disasters, including disasters like COVID. Hitherto, efforts of the National Disaster Management Authority have been focused on first responders and second responders who are far removed from the villages, and therefore it's difficult to expect them to respond timely to the crisis and disasters that strike villages. So we are on the path working with the Ministry of Panchayati Raj to develop the capability at the village level to prepare village disaster management plans and to effectively implement them. Mainly through spirit of volunteerism, identifying volunteers, training them to be able to face the disasters, including COVID-like disasters. I was discussing this with His Excellency the Governor of Haryana, and he was giving some very good insights that we need to sufficiently strengthen the setup for such like initiatives at the district level, and would like to assure you, sir, we'll take all necessary steps to see that the disaster management capabilities at the district level are heightened and strengthened, and then we are able to provide effective services for disaster management at the village level also. And moving forward in that direction, this will be a giant leap. This will be a big step that we'll be taking in through this capacity building training program that you're inaugurating today, sir. And we would like to request you for your kind guidance on the way to move forward, not only for this event, for the NIRDPR also as a whole. Thank you very much, sir.
Sir, for sharing your valuable insights and kind words of wisdom, which are always encouraging and thought-provoking to all of us. Now I would like to invite our Honorable Chief Guest, His Excellency, the Governor of Haryana, Shri Bandaru Dattatreya, sir. He is a seasoned grassroots politician. Shri Bandaru Dattatreya is currently the Governor of State of Haryana. He was also the 20th Governor of Himachal Pradesh, where his vast political and administrative experience played a seminal role in the fast-paced development of the hill state. Thoroughly humble and ever energetic, Shri Dattatreya believes in promoting innovation and research in every field of governance, economy, and education in particular. As the Governor, his thoughts and vision are immensely benefiting Haryana, a hub of education, sports, and industries in the country. A firm believer in Indian values, culture, equality, and justice, Shri Dattatreya was first elected to the Lok Sabha from Secunderabad in 1991. He was re-elected in 1998 and became the Union Minister of State for Urban Development in Prime Minister Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee-led government at the centre. In 1999, he again won the Lok Sabha poll and was made the Union Minister of State for Urban Development by Prime Minister Shri Vajpayee ji. From June 14, 2000 to June 30, 2002, he was the Minister of State for Urban Development and Poverty Alleviation at the centre. From July 1st, 2002 to September 7, 2003, Shri Dattatreya served the nation as the Union Minister of State for Railways and then Union Minister of State Independent Charge, Ministry of Urban Development and Poverty Alleviation. Shri Dattatreya was re-elected to the 16th Lok Sabha in 2014 and was made the Union Minister for Labour and Employment in Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi-led government at the centre. As an MP, he was also on various parliamentary committees, from the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh RSS to the Bharatiya Janata Party. Shri Dattatreya has a rare distinction of serving people and the nation in different capacities and so selflessly. He was also imprisoned during the emergency. He is a science graduate of Osmania University, Hyderabad. Shri Dattatreya carries altogether a different aura, which is so rich, enlightening, and motivating for us. We are really blessed to have him with us today. We request you kindly to give this keynote address as the chief guest to the August gathering. Thank you, sir.
Director General, NIRDPR, Dr. G. Narendra Kumar, and Professor Santosh Kumar of National Institute of Disaster Management, Professor S.N. Lab of Asian Biological Research Foundation, Shri Shashibhushan, Director Finance and DDG NIRDPR, Dr. Preeti Soni and Dr. Kiran, Jalem, and ladies and gentlemen and members of media. And first of all, good morning for all of you, particularly the delegates, those who are participating in this conference from southern states. And I welcome all the delegates also. I am very happy to be part of this 5-day long regional capacity building training program for academicians of South region of India. Beginning today, this program is being organized by National Institute of Disaster Management in collaboration with the National Institute of Rural Development and Panchayat Raj. The topic, inspiring the minds for disaster risk reduction, is quite relevant, enlightening. It is in sync with the 10-point agenda for disaster risk reduction outlined by Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. The Indian universities and institutions network on the disaster risk reduction has been established by National Institute of Disaster Management, Union Ministry of Home Affairs, Government of India. It aims at ensuring safety of nations and communities by knowledge creation through education, promoting innovative technology and research, and facilitating capacity development through exchange of information among universities and institutions to develop a pool group of experts in the areas of disaster management. I am glad to know that model curricula on disaster risk reduction have been developed, which are to be integrated with every stream of higher education in universities and institutions at undergraduate and postgraduate level. Leveraging technology, encouraging the greater involvement and leadership of women, utilizing opportunities provided by the social media, and mobilize the technologies and bringing about the greater cohesion in international response to disasters are paramount importance. It is gladdening indeed that India is moving very fast to have a fine-tuned institutional, structural and operational framework for disaster management in the country. Sharing resources, ensuring last mile connectivity to adopting the best practices, prove effective in disaster management. There is a need for multi-hazard preparedness. Ladies and gentlemen, horizontal and vertical integration of all agencies, departments and other stakeholders is the key minimizing the casualties and damage. We need to be continuously serious and persistent in our efforts to build the capacity of those who matter at the bottom of disaster management ecosystem. Gaps must be addressed with a clarity. Coordination must be gapless. Cyclones are major challenge in our coastal region. It causes huge damage, human properties and lives, particularly for the farmers, and chances of depression and cyclones increase with the temperatures going up over the summer months. Experts need to look into this and suggest measures to mitigate their impact. Similarly, heavy rains cause floods along with the multiple hardships to people. With better coordination between the state and central governments, we will be able to handle disaster risks in better manner. In recent 5, there has been about 20 to 40% improvement in accuracy of service, weathering warning by the Indian Meteorological Department. Forecast of high temperature, heat wave conditions, well in advance results in significant reduction in the number of deaths due to the heat waves in subsequent years. Let us strive for zero heat related mortality in the coming year. In November 2021, the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs approved 2,135 crore for the continuation of atmospheric and climate research, modeling, observing systems and services. A big boost has been given to upgradation of forecasting systems, weather and climate services, atmospheric observations network, study of monsoon clouds and commissioning of polarimetric Doppler weather radars in the country. Ladies and gentlemen, before I conclude, I would like to share some of the key findings of the Global Assessment Report released in 2022, released recently by the UN Office for Disaster Risk Reduction. Between 350, 500, it is very important to note all of the delegates particularly. Between 350 to 500 medium to large scale disasters took place every year over the past 2 decades. And the number of disaster events is projected to reach 560 a year or 1.5 disasters a day by 2030. See the magnitude of the future of this atmosphere change. disasters disproportionately impact our GDP. Every year, we cannot ignore risks and need to be ever prepared and alert to address the disaster risk. Climate change is leading to more extreme weather events, leading to many disasters worldwide. We need to go green in every possible pursuit to save the environment. Human decisions are considered as a major contributor to the disaster risk. We also need to mend our ways in the larger interest of humanity, and in particular, the most vulnerable among us. I wish all the academicians and southern region of the India faculty from Kerala, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. I am very happy that nearly 40 delegates are participating and more number are participating from Kerala and Tamil Nadu. I congratulate them. And strive to make India a disaster-free country. First of all, I congratulate our Director General, NIRDPR, Dr. G. Narendra Kumar garu. He has taken very good initiative, and it is going to be forward the cater to the capacity building needs for the accommodations of the southern region. Friends, the people, those who do not understand Telugu, please raise hands. Oh, large number. తెలుగు అర్థమయ్యే వాళ్ళు చేయొద్దండి, మీరు కూడా ఎక్కువ నెంబర్ ఉన్నారు. లాస్ట్లీ ఐ విల్ స్పీక్ ఇన్ తెలుగు నట్షెల్. ఈ యొక్క సమావేశం చాలా ముఖ్యమైనది. ఎందుకంటే మన దేశంలో ఎదుర్కొంటున్నటువంటి విపత్కరమైన పరిస్థితులు, అంటే ఒకవైపు తుఫాన్లు, ఒకవైపు వరదలు, ఒకవైపున ఉష్ణోగ్రత ఎండ, ఇంకోవైపు భూకంపాలు. ఇవి కాకుండా అకాలమైనటువంటి వర్షాలు, డిప్రెషన్స్ సీలో వస్తున్నాయి. ఇలాంటివన్నీ కూడా రోజు రోజుకు పెరుగుతూ ఉన్నాయి. కారణం ఏంటి? ప్రకృతిని విధ్వంసం చేయడం. ఇది ప్రధానమైన కారణం. అడవులను మనం నరికివేయడం, అడవులను సంరక్షించలేకపోతున్నాం, చెట్లను కాపాడలేకపోతున్నాం, నదులను ఆక్రమించుకుంటున్నాం. పట్టణీకరణ వల్ల ఉన్నటువంటి ఒక పర్యావరణం దెబ్బతింటుంది. వీటి వల్ల ఉష్ణోగ్రత పెరిగి వాతావరణంలో మార్పులు వస్తున్నాయి. నిజంగా చెప్పాలంటే మన దేశంలో ఋతువులు ఏవైతే ఉన్నాయో, సాధారణంగా జూన్లో వర్షాలు పడేవి, కానీ ఇప్పుడు ఏమైంది? ఏప్రిల్లో కూడా వర్షాలు పడే అవకాశం ఉంది. సాధారణంగా ఎప్పుడు నేను చిన్నగా ఉన్నప్పుడు వర్షాకాలం అంటే వర్షాకాలమే, శీతాకాలం అంటే శీతాకాలమే, ఎండాకాలం అంటే ఎండాకాలమే. కానీ ఇప్పుడు ఎండాకాలం వర్షాకాలం అవుతుంది, వర్షాకాలం ఎండాకాలం అవుతుంది. కారణం ఏంటి? వాతావరణంలో మానవుడు చేస్తున్నటువంటి ఒక విధ్వంసం, దీన్ని కాపాడాలంటే ఒకవైపు ఇది చాలా ముఖ్యమైనది, రెండో వైపున విపత్కర పరిస్థితి వస్తే ఏం చేయాలి, ఎలా చేయాలి అనేది ఏదైతే మినిస్ట్రీ ఆఫ్ హోమ్ అఫైర్స్ వాళ్ళు తీసుకుంటున్నారో అది చాలా ఉత్తమమైంది. కానీ వీరు ఇప్పుడు పంచాయతీరాజ్ డిపార్ట్మెంట్ వాళ్ళు గ్రామ స్థాయి వరకు ఇలాంటి విపత్కర పరిస్థితులు వస్తే ఎదుర్కోవడానికి ఏ రకమైనటువంటి ఒక తంత్రాన్ని నిర్మాణం చేయాలి, యంత్రాంగాన్ని నిర్మాణం చేయాలి. అది చాలా సంతోషము. విశ్వవిద్యాలయాలు కాలేజీలో వాళ్ళు తీసుకుపోవడం అనేది చాలా సంతోషమైన విషయం. నేను వారిని తప్పకుండా అభినందిస్తా ఉన్నాను. కింది స్థాయి దాకా, పంచాయతీరాజ్ స్థాయి దాకా తీసుకెళ్ళి, పంచాయతీరాజ్ స్థాయి దాకా తీసుకెళ్ళి చాలా సంతోషం. ఎందుకంటే నేను 1977లో 1977 the tidal wave has come in Andhra Pradesh, hostile Andhra Pradesh. I went as a volunteer there, 77, and there approximately 10,000 corpses were laid down there. Everywhere corpses were there. Entirely, totally, area is, the sea has taken into submergence. At that situation, I was there for 2 years. 2 years I was there as a volunteer of RSS. There I have seen actually what is the disaster management. ఇప్పుడు ఏదైతే మనకు వాతావరణం అనేటువంటిది ఏదైతే మనం చెప్తుందో, ముందే వర్షాలు వస్తున్నాయి, తుఫాన్లు వస్తున్నాయి, సముద్రం వస్తుందని చెప్తుందో, ఈ శాస్త్ర సాంకేతిక పరిజ్ఞానం చాలా గొప్పది. ఇది ఎంత అభివృద్ధిలో చెందితే అంత మేనేజ్మెంట్ మనం తట్టుకోగలుగుతామని నేను హృదయపూర్వకంగా తెలియజేస్తా ఉన్నాను. తుఫాన్ వచ్చేది 3 రోజుల ముందే చెప్తున్నారు. కాబట్టి ఇలాంటి వాటిని టెక్నాలజీ, అందుకే నేను కోరేది ఒకటి, మీరు చేపడుతున్న దానిలో మినిస్ట్రీ ఆర్ హోమ్ అఫేర్స్ ఆర్ పిఆర్ ఇద్దరు కూడా ఏమిటంటే టెక్నాలజీ, innovation, research. These 3 are very important. They will play a major role. So that's why it should be improved. But lastly, I will tell one thing. One sloka is there. One sloka is there. At university level, when college level, when we are taking up into the mass movement, very good planning is there. But people, how they should be? Volunteers are persons though involved in this disaster management, how they should be? That I wanted to describe. In Sanskrita there is a slogan now I have remembered. Udyamam, Sahasam, Dhairyam. Buddhi, Shakti, Parakrama. These are the 6 qualities. First is Udyamam. Can anyone tell you in English? Udyamam emantarandi? Narendra garu. Udyamam. What to say in English? Movement. Huh? Movement means that spirit, struggle. Sahasam. Sahasam means courage. Dhairyam, bold. వరదలు వస్తున్నాయి, నేను పోతానే ధైర్యం ఉండాలి. వరదలు వస్తున్నాయి, అరే ఇట్లా 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 అంటే పోతూనే ఉంటాయి. ధైర్యంగా ఉండి వాళ్ళని కాపాడుతా అనేటువంటి ఒక ధైర్యం ఉండాలి. అన్నిటికన్నా ముఖ్యమైనది బుద్ధి. ఈ బుద్ధి ఎంత ఉంటే అంత ఎక్కువ తెలివిగా పనిచేయగలుగుతాం. బుద్ధి. దానికన్నా ఇంకా ముఖ్యమైనది శక్తి. కొండలు, గుట్టలు, పర్వతాలు, రాళ్ళు, రప్పలు, బురద అన్నిట్లో కూడా పోగలిగినటువంటి ఒక శక్తి ఉండాలి. లేకపోతే కష్టం. బుద్ధి, శక్తి, పరాక్రమ. Parakram means, see, very brightness. These qualities are essential. If these qualities are not there, even then you have more desire to work. If you are physically weak, you cannot do. Or if you are physically strong, mentally weak, then you can't approach. So that's why the volunteers in universities, in the colleges. We should select such people. We should select such people. We should select such team and give training. Then such people will get more results. Then people will be more benefited. Otherwise, money will be spent. Money will be spent. Everything work has been done on the paper, but the real result will be, in Telugu there is a saying, in English also it can say, cinema hall is full, collection is nil. Hall is full, but collection is nil. If collection is not there, if hall is full, what does it mean? So that's why hall should fill, collection also should be filled. If there is no collection, no resources, no forwardness. तो इसलिए आगे बढ़ना और हिम्मत से काम करना, ये जो है बहुत ज़रूरत है. అందుకని నేను మీ అందరికీ, the delegates, those who have come particularly from southern region, కోస్టల్ రీజియన్లో చాలా ఇబ్బంది పాపం. I have seen in కాకినాడ, రాజమండ్రి, విశాఖపట్నం, even Krishna, Guntur, Nellore. Other side when we go Rayalaseema, it is a totally Hidari. Like that Telangana, if Godavari floods come, all the farmers will be terrified. సో అందువల్ల ఈ పరిస్థితులన్నీ ఎదుర్కోవాలంటే చాలా సంతోషం. మీరు నాగేంద్ర గారు, మీరు ఏదైతే ఇనిషియేటివ్ తీసుకున్నారో గ్రామ స్థాయి వరకు, పంచాయత్ రాజ్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్ వరకు తీసుకుపోయి దీన్ని సమర్థవంతంగా చేసేటువంటిది ప్రయత్నం ప్రారంభించడం, నేను దానికి నా హృదయపూర్వకమైనటువంటి కృతజ్ఞతలు తెలియజేస్తా ఉన్నాను. దానికి చాలా ప్రిపేర్నెస్ కూడా చేస్తున్నారు. హోమ్ మినిస్టర్ నుంచి కూడా, పర్టికులర్లీ యూ హ్యావ్ కమ్ ఫ్రమ్ ఆల్ ది వే, ఢిల్లీ నుంచి వచ్చినటువంటి మన సంతోష్ కుమార్, ఆయన కూడా పాపం చాలా బాగా కృషి చేస్తున్నారు. నేను అడిగాను ఇప్పటిదాకా కూర్చొని మాట్లాడి. ఇలాంటి వాళ్ళు చాలామంది ఎంతో దీక్షతోటి పనిచేసి ప్రజల్లో ఇన్స్పైరింగ్ మైండ్స్, చాలా మంచి యూ హ్యావ్ లేబుల్డ్ వెరీ గుడ్ లేబుల్. ఏదైతే ఇవాళ టాపిక్ పెట్టినరో ఇది చాలా మంచి టాపిక్ పెట్టారు. ఆ టాపిక్లో పెట్టినటువంటి కూడా వాళ్ళు చెప్పినటువంటి ఇన్స్పైరింగ్ మైండ్స్, ఇన్స్పైరింగ్ ది మైండ్స్ ఫర్ డిజాస్టర్, ఇన్స్పైరింగ్ ద మైండ్స్. ఇది చాలా అవసరమైనటువంటిది. సమాజంలో అలాంటి ఒక జాగృతిని నిర్మాణం చేసి ఎప్పటికప్పుడు గ్రామంలో ఏమైనా అయింది, కట్ట తెగిపోయింది, కట్ట కట్టాలి, ఎవరు కట్టాలి? అక్కడ ఉన్న విద్యార్థులు, యువకులు ఎవరో ముందుకు వచ్చి చేయాలంటే ఇలాంటి మేనేజ్మెంట్ తెలిసిన వాళ్ళు అక్కడ ఉంటే అది తొందరగా నష్టం తగ్గిపోతుంది. కాబట్టి ఇది చాలా అవసరమైంది. దీన్ని ఇంకా నేను తప్పకుండా తెలంగాణ, ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్లో, పర్టికులర్లీ ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్లో గ్రామ స్థాయి వరకు దీన్ని అత్యధికంగా తీసుకెళ్లాలని, తెలంగాణ ప్రభుత్వం కూడా దీన్ని అత్యధికంగా తీసుకెళ్లాలని నేను తప్పకుండా కోరుతా ఉన్నాను. దానివల్ల మనకు ఎక్కువ లాభాలు జరిగే అవకాశం. ఎందుకంటే ఇక్కడ NIRD పంచాయతీరాజ్ డిపార్ట్మెంట్ వాళ్ళు ఇక్కడ మనకు దేశం యొక్క సంస్థ మనకు ఉన్నది. కాబట్టి దీన్ని తెలంగాణ ప్రభుత్వం ఎక్కువగా ఉపయోగించుకొని, ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ ప్రభుత్వం కూడా ఎక్కువగా ఉపయోగించుకొని, మన సదరన్ స్టేట్స్ కూడా దీన్ని బాగా ఉపయోగించుకొని లాభపడాలని నేను హర్యానా గవర్నర్ అయిన తెలుగు బిడ్డగా నేను ఈ రెండు ప్రభుత్వాలకు చెప్తున్నా. అందువల్ల మీ అందరూ కూడా ఇంత పెద్ద సంఖ్యలో వచ్చేసి ఈ కార్యక్రమాన్ని విజయవంతం చేసినందుకు, అందులో మన నరేంద్ర కుమార్ గారు నన్ను దీంట్లో ఆహ్వానించినందుకు నేను వారికి హృదయపూర్వకమైన ధన్యవాదాలు తెలియజేస్తూ సెలవు తీసుకుంటాను. జై హింద్.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for motivating us with your really kind words. Sir has given us today lots of teaching and inspiring words. In spite of his valuable time and experiences, he has given the importance of Udyam, Sahas, Buddhi, Shakti, Prakram and Dhairya in our day-to-day life also. He also highlighted the importance of disaster management subject in higher education in India. Especially, he also addressed his experiences and our gathering in his regional language. Thank you very much, sir, for your kind words and motivation. Now, I would like to propose to vote of thanks to chief guests and dignitaries. We request Shri Shashi Bhushan, sir, DDG, Director Finance, NIRD, to do the honor. Please, sir.
Thank you, Madam. His Excellency and Honorable Sri Bandaru Dattatreya Sahab, who has come from all the way from Haryana to address this August gathering. Respected DG Sir, Professors Santosh Kumar Ji and Professor S.No, our esteemed faculty members, participants for this workshop, for this 5-day training program, and other officers and staff of NIRDPR. So, summing up this inaugural session, a disaster word itself is very disaster. So, nothing more is to be added. It seems quite horrific, so it doesn't require introduction further. So, what Chief Guest Sir was addressing, he told that 30 years back he was telling the status of large casualty in terms of both man as well as animal. So we have moved away from that stage, and now India, through the cadres of NDRF, SDRF, is able to address the issue with more scientific temperament and preparedness. So as DG Sir was mentioning, so so far disasters in conventional manner from cyclone and all, India is quite, its capacity has been built, and through IMD it has been able to receive the timely input, and accordingly planning takes place. But now we need to see that in the modern days things are moving away from the conventional disaster, like an example of COVID was given. So now we must look to the future biological warfare, and then we may remember Uttarakhand disaster also. Himalayan, suddenly in Badrinath, the Himalaya, a large deluge occurred there, and we were not able to control. So such things we need to be aware, and NIDM needs to take these things into account. And then this is a regional capacity building training program for academicians of southern region of India. So fairly we are in the urban areas, we are fairly capacity has been fairly established, and we are aware of the disaster. So as DG Sir said, that we need to move to village and panchayat. So this is the strength of NIRDPR. NIDM in collaboration with NIRDPR must try to develop strengthen the capacity in village and panchayat areas, where ultimately the last beneficiary is there, and casualties generally are more in the rural area. As said, cyclone first it will strike the villages, and then it will move to the cities. So city is fairly equipped, so we need to see in these lights. Then in the end, as it was the longest address, and chief guest was kind enough to address in Telugu, and lot of clappings were there, so it seems it was fairly enjoyable. And so I wish all the best for the forthcoming training program, and want to thanks the dignitaries sitting on the dais for giving the time from their busy schedule and making this training program important. So I wish all the best for NIRDPR in collaboration with NIDM. So let us move ahead and see the frontier areas of disaster where the country is still to think of, and then to expansion the horizon to the geographical areas of rural India. This is the futuristic. We must move ahead and accordingly plan so that disaster can be countered in a meaningful way. Thank you.
With this, we come to the end of this inaugural session. May I now request to all raise for the national anthem, please.
जनगण मनाधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल वंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभाशिष मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे.
We now will have a group photograph with our chief guest in the garden area, please. And also after that, please come forward toward the SK hall. It's the first floor. We'll have the exclusive interaction with our chief guest, Governor sir. Yeah, please be gathered in the garden area. Please come.
Group photograph near the Gandhi block. From there, we'll move to first floor, SK hall, for exclusive interaction with Honorable Governor of Haryana, with faculty as well as participants. We'll move to the photograph area now.